These are all aspiring nations. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 places fighting for independence. For this list, we've chosen regions, groups, or places that are fighting to separate from the countries to which they belong, or which are fighting for recognition as independent nations. Number 10. Basque Country, along the border of France and Spain, in and around the Pyrenees Mountains. Who wants to separate? The Basque National Party, PNV, and the Basque Homeland and Liberty, or ETA. Separatists say, we're Europe's oldest surviving people with a language just as ancient. Our food and festivals rock, we want to do our own thing. Spain and France say, we're willing to negotiate. Key events: Francisco Franco's dictatorship, the bombing of Guernica, ETA terrorism. Status: after killing over 800 people, ETA claims to be done with violence. The Basque Nationalist Party shut down its French branch, but gained a new one in Spain. Number 9. Flanders, the northwestern part of Belgium. Who wants to separate? The Flemish movement, with parties like the New Flemish Alliance or NVA. Separatists say, we're rich, we're Dutch, and we're tired of supporting the poor Frenchmen in Wallonia, especially with the economy in the toilet. But we'll always work within the system.
Dat is toch een Vlaamse regering. Dat deed je dan maar oplossen voor hier in Vlaanderen en de Walen aan hun kant.
Belgium says, separation is too expensive. Key events: the Eurozone crisis, the leader of the NVA elected mayor of Antwerp. Status: while public opinion favors increased autonomy over independence, NVA has gained support in recent years and will likely push for full separation eventually.
Things need to change. The Flemish voters have said so, loud and clear.
Number 8. Tibet, to the northeast of the Himalayas in China. Who wants to separate? Tibetans and the Dalai Lama. Separatists say, China, you colonized and suppressed us. Stop killing us and at least let us live autonomously. The Dalai Lama has been exiled long enough. Free Tibet or we'll set ourselves on fire. Seriously.
These are one way they believe nonviolence.
China says, okay, there may have been some human rights abuses, but we didn't kill anyone, and we've had sovereignty over that region for hundreds of years. Key events: the 17-point agreement, the Dalai Lama's exile to India, a wave of self-immolations. Status: visibility has increased, but overall not much has changed. Recently, Tibetans have shifted focus from demanding full independence to more autonomy within the Chinese system. Number 7. Quebec, East Central Canada. Who wants to separate? The Parti Québécois and the Bloc Québécois. Separatists say, Canada has held us back long enough. We must become our own socialist country to protect French language and culture. Also, we were here first.
J'ai jamais pensé que je pourrais être aussi fier d'être québécois que ce soir.
Canada says, we beat you at the Plains of Abraham, we've recognized you as a distinct people, so stop complaining or get out. Key events: Charles de Gaulle, the October Crisis, unsuccessful referendums on sovereignty in 1980 and 95. Status: Quebec's sovereignty movement has lost momentum, but the province retains significant regional autonomy and the two solitudes of English and French remain. Number 6. Kosovo, Southeastern Europe, formerly part of Serbia and Yugoslavia. Who wants to separate? The ethnic Albanian population and the Kosovo Liberation Army. Separatists say, we are so poor, but we are independent. Serbia and Russia, why don't you want us to get a United Nations seat?
Что поддержка одностороннего объявления независимости Косово является неморальной и неправовой.
Serbia says, we reject you as a sovereign state and we don't care what anyone else says. Key events: the disintegration of Yugoslavia, Slobodan Milosevic strips Kosovo of its independence, oppression and ethnic cleansing of Kosovo Albanians, the Kosovo War, and independence in 2008. Status: the United States and many important EU countries recognize Kosovo as a state, and the numbers continue to rise. Number 5. South Ossetia and Abkhazia, the northeastern part of Georgia in a region known as South Caucasus. Who wants to separate? Russia, South Ossetia, Abkhazia. Separatists say, when the Soviet Union fell apart, we claimed independence. Russia says we're independent. Why can't you, Georgia? Georgia says, we said no. We've had wars to keep you in line. Only a few countries actually recognize you as independent, so as far as we're concerned, you're still part of us. Key events: the breakup of the USSR, the Georgian-Ossetian conflict, the war in Abkhazia, the Russia-Georgia War of 2008. Status: the United Nations and most states worldwide still do not recognize South Ossetia or Abkhazia as independent states, and they are both technically still part of Georgia. Number 4. The Palestinian territories, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Who wants to separate? The Israeli government, the Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO, the Quartet on the Middle East, the Arab League, Fatah, and Hamas. Separatists say, we want our home back. We know you're not claiming sovereignty over us or anything, but come on. Israel says, this is the Holy Land. We've been occupying this area since 1967. We have no problem giving you what you want, as long as it coincides with what we want. Key events: the Palestinian Exodus, founding of Israel, the Six-Day War, and the Oslo Accords. Status: the violence continues. No one can agree to the terms of the two-state solution. In 2012, the UN recognized Palestine as a non-member observer state, but the US and Israel opposed it. Number 3. Kurdistan, parts of Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria. Who wants to separate? The Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK. Separatists say, we're the world's largest ethnic group without a place to call our own. Semi-autonomy isn't good enough for us, Iraq. Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria say, good luck with that, to varying degrees. Key events: the Treaty of Sèvres, reneged autonomy of the 1970s, PKK terrorism, the Iran-Iraq War, Saddam Hussein's genocide of Kurdish people, and the Arab and Kurdish Spring. Status: Iraqi Kurds have been autonomous since the early 90s, and the region has remained stable. Those in Iran and Turkey are allowed to speak their native tongue today, but the Kurdish language is banned in Syria. However, Syrian Kurds have essentially been left to govern themselves in the wake of the Syrian civil war. Number 2. Catalonia, northeastern Spain. Who wants to separate? The Republican Left of Catalonia, or the ERC, Popular Unity Candidacy, or CUP, Convergence and Union, or CIU, and the Initiative for Catalonia Greens, or ICV. Separatists say, we're rich, so stop making us prop up the rest of Spain while they go through a financial crisis. We're barely Spanish anyway. Spain says, no deal. You separate and you're out of the European Union, and you'll have tons of debt. Seriously, watch it or we'll send tanks. Key events: suppression by Miguel Primo de Rivera and Francisco Franco, an economic crisis, pro-independence parties win majority government. Status: a recent surge in nationalist support means a referendum is scheduled for 2014. If regional election results and popular votes on the subject are accurate, the population is supportive.
Ultimately, we had to reach the decision to found a state of our own.
Number 1. Scotland, the northern part of the island of Great Britain. Who wants to separate? The Scottish National Party. Separatists say, we used to be our own country, and now that we've got all this North Sea oil money, we want it for ourselves. Over 300 years in the United Kingdom is long enough. We want out. The United Kingdom says,
we are better together, we're stronger together, we're safer together, we're better off together. Let the arguments now be put, and I hope that people will vote to keep this United Kingdom together.
Key events: wars on independence, acts of union, it's Scotland's oil, the reconvened Scottish Parliament. Status: other European Union countries that are hoping to secede are watching what happens at the 2014 Scottish referendum on independence.
I'm honoured to announce that on Thursday, the 18th of September 2014, we will hold Scotland's referendum, a historic day where the people will decide Scotland's future.
Do you agree with our list? Which separatist movements around the world do you think are most likely to succeed? For more informative top 10s, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.